everyone. Thank you all for coming.
Yeah, that's
Tonight
right.
is the Whittingham Homeowners Association, Greenbriar Whittingham Community Association meeting for Thursday, November 20th, 2025. Would you all please rise for a pledge of allegiance?
I don't want Abby. I don't want Abby Diamondstein.
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
There's something on their end. There's nothing you can do.
Could I click on this to get rid of Abby?
No.
Why are you getting rid of me? I don't want to be on here.
Well, if you mute yourself, we won't have any problem.
You're just on the screen with your name.
Your name is there all the time. I'm not getting rid of you.
We
Okay.
wanted to
Okay,
see the
thank you
paper.
all. Before we begin our regular order of business, I just wanted to let everyone know that we're going to be doing our regular monthly business prior to the budget presentation tonight. So we're going to hopefully get through that as quickly as we can, and then we're going to go into the budget because Kathy has an extensive presentation for you tonight, so that's going to take a little bit of time. So prepare yourself. I hope you bought some popcorn and some refreshments, so we'll be here for a little while. Okay. So, Matt, can I have a roll call, please?
Good evening, everyone. Yes, let's start with the WOA board. Tom Clark,
Yes.
Jay Ressler, Bob Brown, Kathy Dodano, Joe Atanasio, Kathy Clark and Gleason, and Jeff Simonson absent. Let's shoot over to the Greenbriar board. Chester Trubinsky, Ron Parisi, Mark Sirks, Cliff Durlacher, and Alan Greenberg's not here yet. And I'm here, Matt, the general manager from First Service. We got Kristen Parisi, our lifestyle director, and Susie Weidengartner, our property manager.
Okay.
You can clap louder.
All righty. Let's go on. Matt, do you have a report for us here tonight?
Yeah, not my best report. I was a little stressed out trying to get these mics going. But the main thing is I hope everybody can hear us okay. We have new microphones finally. Okay.
I have no
Maybe I'll
picture.
stand a little further away from it. Okay, we had the front
Can't see it.
multi-purpose room was
Everybody's
repainted,
having
and we
to see it.
replaced some of the trim that was all banged up. That was finished up last week. It looks
Yeah,
great.
fine.
The Whittingham concrete project, we're done for the season. We did a lot of sidewalks and some stoops over there. Weather has turned a little bit and gotten cold, so it's not great for concrete now. I'm sure we'll have some more tomorrow, but that project went very, very well. We replaced the lower roof at 52A Rutland last week, so that's done. Homeowners are very happy. We have the Whittingham gutter cleaning project is scheduled for December 1st. So we're going to get notices out to everybody on that as well. It may fluctuate a couple days with the weather, but looks like most of the leaves are just about down over there. And one of the big things is irrigation was winterized. It's cold. We don't need it. So it was a pretty decent irrigation season, we thought. The fence project is in full swing right now. We have 28 homes that have been completed already, and we're looking to get about another 5 or 6 at least before Thanksgiving. Everything will be buttoned up for Thanksgiving. Everyone will have gates. Their fences will be done, and then we'll see if we can maybe get another week or so in before the holidays, but we'll see.
Thank you. Kristen, do you have a report for us?
Yes. So we have 2 movies coming up at 1 p.m. in the Arts and Crafts Dance Room. About My Father on Saturday, November 22nd, and Vacation on Sunday, November 30th. On Wednesday, December 3rd, we have a few seats left for our Atlantic City trip to the resorts. On Wednesday, December 17th, we're going to New York City to see Chess. We have 3 seats available for that. On December 25th, we have our bus going to Atlantic City. That's on sale now. New Year's Eve is sold out with a small waiting list. We have our max number of tables, which is 22, but people do cancel. So if you missed out, please get on the waiting list. On Sunday, January 18th, at 3 p.m. in the ballroom, we have the Sensational Soul Cruisers. Tickets are $30 each, and they go on sale Monday, December 1st. And more details will follow this, but I wanted to let everybody know that we will be going to New York in April of 2026 to see Ragtime, and August of 2026 to see Les Mis. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. All right, before we actually get into our order of business between the two boards, I did want to give the community a quick update in regards to the restaurant. The past 2 weeks, we've had an opportunity to meet with the board's attorney, and we met with the interested party from the Greenbriar, from the Greenery Restaurant, Todd Wurtzel, and we've had some good discussions. And basically what our attorney did was lay out what needs to be done by our governing documents. We're required to have at least a minimum of a 10-day notice on an election, and the election itself will be open for a period of 2 weeks. After that point, since most of the votes are counted electronically, we'll know on the night of the closing of the election. So what we basically have here is this. We've also invited Mr. Wurtzel in to make a presentation, and we'll probably hold 2 presentations because I know there'll be a lot of interest in regards to an assessment of a food credit. So Mr. Wurtzel will be coming in on January 5th. We're going to try to get 2 sessions in. More information will be forthcoming as we get closer. But there'll be 2 sessions, one in the afternoon and one in the evening. And we'll basically let everyone know how he's presenting to address the food assessment credit, how he's going to handle it, what his restaurant is going to be all about, how he's going to propose to handle it. I think it'll be very informative, and it's something that I think everyone will get something out of. So the requirements for the vote is going to be basically 25% of all the households, all the doors in our community need to come in and vote. We need a quorum of at least 25% for this food assessment. And a 51% or a simple majority will pass it. So on January 5th, the presentation for the restaurant will be made. January 7th, the vote will begin, and it will close on January 21st. At that point, we'll know if it's going to be an effort to continue having discussions with an operator or not. So that's where we are at this point, and hopefully we'll have more information to you as we get closer. We'll have reminders. All the legal notices of the requirements will also be sent to everyone as we get closer to the election. And that's hopefully gives everyone a good idea of where we are, the discussions we're having, and following the process that our attorney laid out, we're going to follow. So in saying that, we've got a lot of business here, so why don't we just move on and go over to Greenbriar?
I'll start by making a motion to approve the minutes of the Greenbriar at Whittingham Community Association minutes of the joint board of October 28th, 2025. I need a second.
I'll second the motion. Second.
All right.
I'm also here.
All right. Alan Greenberg is now here. All right, let's take roll. Chetzer Trubinsky,
Yes.
Alan Greenberg,
Yes.
Ron Parisi, Mark Sirks, Cliff Durlacher. Thanks.
Okay, we're back over to Warwood Business approval of the October 20th, 2025 open workshop meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve? Moved by Jay, second by Kathy. Any discussion, any corrections? Okay, seeing none, call for a vote.
Okay, Tom Clark,
Yes.
Jay Ressler, Bob Brown, Kathy Dodano, Joe Atanasio, and Kathy Clark and Gleason.
Okay, going over to the approval of the October 28, 2025 joint open meeting minutes. Do I have a motion on this? Moved by Jay, second by Joe. Any discussions, corrections? Seeing none, I'll ask for a vote.
Tom Clark,
Yes.
Jay Wrestler, Bob Brown, Kathy Dodano, Joe Atanasio, Kathy Clark and Gleason. Thanks.
All right, our next item is the approval of the 2026 indoor-outdoor pool contract with Millennial Pool Management for a cost of $228,000 with options for 2027 and 2028. This was a recommendation from the subcommittee that met, head by Joe Antonaccio, in regards to the proposed vendors. We interviewed several people, and I'm going to at this point turn it over to you, Joe, if you want to give a report of what you were, what information you have in regards to the contract and the people you interviewed.
Okay, we spoke to these guys. The company was established in 2019. That's why it's called Millennial, because the guys met in college and decided to form a pool management company. They pretty much checked all the boxes in terms of what they're going to provide for us. And we went over at the last meeting, and we felt that this was probably going to be our best option. And they've also agreed to us that if we had a person or persons that was acting as a lifeguard that we were comfortable with, they would be willing to sit down and talk to them and possibly hire them. Okay? There'll be a someone at the front gate at all times, checking ID and checking for guests. Okay, there will be 3 lifeguards at the pool, 1 in the indoor pool at all times. Okay, there's a 30-minute turnover time if someone were to call in sick. There will be a manager, a supervisory lifeguard on site, and a manager within 20 minutes of here. This is why we made a decision, and that's why I'll make a motion to accept that contract. Thank you.
To introduce, do I have one on a second? Okay. So at this point, with the motion and second, I'll open it up to anyone in the audience who may have comment on this particular contract. Any comment on this contract? Okay, seeing none, I'll move along. We already got a movement and a second, so I will ask for a roll call.
Sure. Tom Clark,
Yes.
Jay Wrestler, Bob Brown, Kathy Dodano, Joe Atanasio, and Kathy Clark and Gleason.
All right, next order of business is the approval of a contract with landscaping maintenance for fall plantings in various locations throughout the Whittingham for a cost of $9,705.91. Do I have a motion to approve this? Approve, second? Okay. Any comment before I open it up? Okay. Anyone in the audience have any comments on this particular contract? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion, we have a second. I'll ask for a roll call.
Sure. Tom Clark,
Yes.
Jay Wrestler, Bob Brown, Kathy Dodano, Joe Atanasio, and Kathy Clark and Gleason.
Okay, next item is the approval of a contract with Biondo Roofing to replace a chimney housing at 1A Chadwick for a cost of $6,875. Do I have a motion on this? Second by Joe. And Matt, you want to give some information on this contract or why we're doing what we're doing?
Yeah, we've had a lot of issues with these lower roofs throughout the community, the ones that go over the kitchen and everything. Doesn't seem like they were done properly from the get-go, so we're getting a lot of leaks, and we've replaced a handful of them already. So most of the rest of the roofs don't need it, but the lower roofs seem to be going first, so that's why we're just doing the lower roofs right now.
Okay. All right. Any comment from the public? Okay, seeing no comment, we've already got a motion and a second, so I'll ask for a roll call, Matt.
Sure. Tom Clark,
Yes.
Jay Wrestler, Bob Brown, Kathy Dodano, Joe Atanasio, and Kathy Clark and Gleason.
Okay, we'll turn it back over. Committee reports for Greenbriar.
The only thing I will say about budget is that that's what we're going to do later on. So there's nothing to report here. It'll be reported as the budget.
Okay. Covenants?
Okay. Site review met on November 11th. 15 applications were reviewed and approved. The committee members undertook 18 inspections.
And for newcomers, we had a session November 13th. It was a great session. We had about 20, maybe 24 new homeowners here in the community. It was a terrific session. Our next one will probably happen in March or so. That's it.
All right, we'll go back over to WOA. Well, the budget and finance, obviously, we're going to handle that later. Any reports on covenants? Okay, no business to report. Entertainment,
Contract signed for next year, so we're booked completely for the year, so hopefully we'll have a great turnout. Hopefully we'll have a great turnout. We're booked through 2026. And that's it.
okay. All right, Bob, thank you. Landscape Committee? Any report?
Okay. Landscape Committee did not meet this month, and that's probably the last meeting for the year. We will restart our meetings in the spring, so I have nothing to report.
All righty, thank you, Kathy. Site reviews, Jeff is not here tonight, so we'll hold his report for our next meeting. Town Center Committee? Okay, there you go.
Okay, the Town Center Committee met November 13th. Discussions that we had in the ballroom. They're removing the crystals from the chandeliers along the crystals along this wall have been removed to make it look more modern. There's discussion about removing the crystals from the big chandeliers. There was also discussion about removing the drapes along the side to give it a more open look. The indoor pool needs power washing along the perimeter. At the front multipurpose room, painting was completed on Friday, November 7th. The restaurant, as Tom had mentioned, we'll be voting on that. At the handicap entrance over there, there needs to be a paint touch-up of several places where it's chipped. And it was discussed that there should be a monthly inspection of the entire building to see what maintenance is needed. There was a discussion and vote about removing the ID cards which get you into the building. We would keep it for the locker room, but it's not necessary to have when you come into the building. Most people don't use it anyway. There was a question about how committee members are chosen. Can't go into too much about that, but generally we try to give everybody their first choice. The committee wanted an emblem installed at the entrance to the ballroom that said GW or Greenbriar at Whittingham, something like that. They had samples of type of emblem that they would like. And then there was discussion about installing a vending machine because the restaurant wasn't open. So they were asking about putting in a vending machine to get snacks or drinks. And that's it.
All righty, thank you, Jay. Seeing that Jeff is joining us, Jeff, do you have anything to report on your site review committee? Okay. Okay. All right, so we'll speak to you at next month's meeting. Okay. All right, so that brings us into the 2026 budget presentation. Now,
Excuse me, Tom?
Yeah.
Perhaps before the budget, do you think we could open the meeting up for Q&A for any questions unrelated to the budget? And then after the budget, only questions relating to the budget? Can we knock that?
Yeah.
Want to do that that way?
we can do that. I just wanted to make sure, I wanted everyone to know that there's going to be a slight pause once we close this regular business, just for a minute, so they can reset their computers, because we're going to try to just make a presentation of just the budget to send out to everyone without the regular meeting, if people have an interest in that. So it's just going to be a slight little pause on that. All right, so anyway, at this point, we're at the open forum. If anyone who would like to have anything to discuss other than the budget, please come forward. And please turn that desk around so you're kind of facing us. Alan, could you turn that around a little bit? Thank you, that's great.
Tom? 3 minutes?
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Alan Schwartz, 19 London Drive. So I've discussed this with many of the board members, and my concern is the increased problems that we're seeing throughout the community with the flow of traffic here. What I'm seeing the other day, for the third time within, I would say, a little over a month, somebody hit that light pole coming into the development, and I see that it's already been replaced within the last couple of days. And just people are not really paying attention when they're driving. People coming through the gate, they don't look at, they see someone through the gate, they'll proceed through the intersections. One of the things I'm seeing is an increased amount of people that are either sliding through the stop signs or just racing through them and not stopping. The other thing I'm seeing is, we all talked about the fact that people are speeding through the community. I know that the Greenbriar board has already talked about putting stop signs throughout Chichester Road, which will definitely help to slow people down. They put multiple stop signs. I think the same thing should be considered for Harwood and Westminster, because people, and that's a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit on Westminster. People are going way over 30, if not better, on that street. And the other issue is that people are parking the wrong ways and pulling out. We have a lot of older drivers, may I say it, in this community. Some of them can hardly see over the steering wheel, and we have to think about safety here, and a lot of people just aren't. And we need to address these things before we have a real major problem. I just appreciate the board taking the time to listen to my concerns.
All right, well, thank you, Alan.
You're welcome.
Got any comment on the Greenbriar?
Yes, I do have a comment. I would like to ask everybody to be careful with their brights. I'm not quite sure what the reason the person drove into the street light, but if they were blinded by somebody's brights and then looked up and saw somebody wearing black and almost hit a person, I could understand why they turned their car real quick and hit a street light. We have to be more conscientious about not shining brights into people's eyes. Our eyes do not adjust well at our ages. And we have to start cracking down on wearing black while walking in the streets in this community at night. That's just asking for trouble.
The other thing when you're walking is that you have to walk in the correct side of the street, especially on the main streets, so that you can see the cars coming to you, not in the same direction as the cars. And the other thing is, I know that the board has discussed a couple of times, is speed bumps. I think speed bumps are a thing of last resort. I know we've spoken to emergency services and what their problem is with it. I think that the stop signs will help a lot, and I think also Greenbriar should consider doing what the board has done in the main areas of the community and put down the speed limits on the roadways itself. I think that'll help out a lot. That we have to try to do something. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Alan. John?
John Tennyson, 74C Winthrop, also known as turn number 3 on the Winthrop Speedway. My comment is not about Speedway, but about the restaurant. As you discuss with the concessionaire and your colleagues about the upcoming assessment, vote for an assessment, okay, for the restaurant, you should also be aware of what we're currently giving the concessionaire. Typically, food service operates on 30% food cost, 30% labor, 30% rent and utilities, and 10% profit. Of the 30% that we give the concessionaire currently, it's not only for rent, not only for utilities, but also for all of the maintenance in regards to that enterprise. When the heating and air conditioning in the dining room goes, they get somebody to fix it, or we get somebody to fix it, and we give the bill to Matt. And then health food violations. If there's a problem, get it corrected, send the bill to Matt. The dishwasher doesn't work. Oh my God, we got a problem. You know, well, we give that one to Susie, okay? Yeah.
On that one, we don't have a problem because we never had a dishwasher there. If there's one, it's on the restaurant. We don't have a problem with that one.
The 12th or 13th guy took it with him, I think. There are a number of things that are very, very costly that we contribute to. And it's not just rent, okay? So there are other things that I'd like you to consider as we move forward with this, okay? Good.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, John. Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
we are aware there's a lot of other hidden costs there that people aren't quite aware of. Yes, sir. Name? Oh, Gary, go ahead.
56 Westboro. My only suggestion is, and I actually said something to Matt the other day, can we put bollards around that first lamp when you first come through the door, the main entrance, so they would hit bollards before they take out another light pole? You know what I mean? Just as a safety, like put 3 of them around it. So,
Yeah, okay.
you know,
That's
it
a
might
good
be better hitting a
suggestion.
bollard than having that electric pole fall on top of you. So, it's just a thought. It's probably a cheaper way out.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks, Gary. Anyone else? There's some.
Hello, my name is John Garbarino, and I live at 20 Dawson Lane. And I think safety is a very important issue, but how we go about it, I think, is more important. I came home one day and found the curbs in front of my house being painted. And I have about 135 feet of property. I live on the curb on Dawson Lane. I was a little upset about it. I knocked on Chester's door and because I couldn't get a hold of Susie when I called her, and they stopped painting. And then the next day, I took a ride around the community with my wife because I wanted to see, you know, how my property was being handled compared to the rest of the community, and I really didn't know. And as I drove around, I found that most curves, and most of these roads are only 30 feet wide, were, if there was a bend in the road, the middle of the road was painted yellow. That's on Leeds, that's on Chichester. You go up Hardwood and Westminster, go through those neighborhoods. All of the curves are painted, the center line, there's a center line painted yellow. The curbs are not painted yellow. So, and the other thing is, what's interesting about Dawson Lane is that the particular road was designed for that curve. And what I mean by that is the road actually in the center of the curve, which is not a severe curve, by the way, is 71 feet wide. Now, if you look at, I looked on the Department of Transportation, you know, how they design a road, and a road typically is anywhere between 34 to
1 minute, please.
to 44 feet. So I think that painting the curb is not going to help there. I think the proper approach is to paint a yellow line in the center of that bend That gives 35 feet on either side of that line. If people stay on their side of the road, that's plenty of, there's actually enough area there for a car to be parked and two cars to pass. That would be on one side of the yellow line. And then on the other side of the street, you'd have the same situation. I think that's a much better application. On Dawson Lane, I talked to some of the originals, people who've been there since day one, and there's never been an accident in 28 years. And the other thing is, what's interesting is the landscapers.
Sir, you have a question, you have to answer it now. Ask it now.
Okay,
For 3
I'll ask my
minutes.
question. All right, that's fine. I didn't know I was time barred, but anyway. So here's my question to the board, all right? I went through all the rules and the regulations on the website, and I do not see anywhere in there where curves should be painted yellow. It talks, you can't park in an area that's yellow, but it doesn't say that curves should be painted yellow. So my question to the board is, why is my property, which is designed properly, and it doesn't have a yellow line today because it really doesn't need it if people stay on their side of the road, why am I being singled out and discriminated against? My property, I can't use my property, you devalued my home, you limited the use of my property, based on what?
Okay.
Where are the
All right.
facts and figures?
I
Here's
got
my
your
question.
All right. I'm not familiar with your issue. I mean, I'm going to ask someone on the Greenbriar board.
I can
who
answer
probably has
that,
a
Tom.
better idea.
I can answer that. I live on Washington Place. In place. Traffic coming in the other way. If there are cars parked on one side and the other, you can't see the ongoing traffic. It would be impossible if both cars are parked on the different sides of the street for a fire apparatus to get through there, which is why I requested to Chester that he paint that curb 35 or 40 feet deeper into Wellington Place so that people don't park on. That's the reason for the curb yellow, being painted yellow.
How wide is that street?
How wide is the street? I would guess 71 feet, like you stated. I haven't taken a measurement, to tell you the truth.
Okay, well, I've measured out by my property, and I can tell you this, that if you park a car on the side of the road, 2 or 3 fire trucks can go around that car in that curve. It's
Well,
not a blind curve, it's a very gradual curve.
I'm sorry, in my situation, the difference.
It's a very gradual curve if you
Okay.
take it. So, listen, I don't want to, I didn't want to get into different
No,
specifics.
we'll take a look
because-
at it. Not
But
a
there,
big deal.
if you look at Brighton and Gormley, they have severe curves, and there's nothing. So,
Okay. All I can say to you is that, I mean, on the Whittingham side, curbs have been painted yellow in certain locations for years, and mostly because of curves and a sight problem in that area. I'm not quite familiar with your property. Joe seems to be very familiar with it, and if there was a concern in regards to, the guy navigating through a curve and sight off of an intersection, that's why it was done. Has nothing to do with your property per se. It's for the safety of the traffic that's riding on the road.
I think I would just want to point out that if a car is parked on the side of the road, people typically slow down. So, keep in mind, you have 35 feet. That could be a shoulder and 2 lanes of traffic on one side of that road. That's a very wide area. So, and the only other thing I want to mention is, and I wanted to make sure that the board, I don't know who's making these decisions. I don't know if it says somewhere in the bylaws or regulations that
Been talking
this
more than-
curve, they should be painted yellow. If they should be painted yellow, paint them all yellow. I just don't want to be different. The other thing is, if you come in Dawson Lane,
They just commented that you're not different. There are many curves in this community that have been painted. Probably yours is one of the very last to be painted. I did agree with you in more than one conversation that the original painting was excessive and that it would be corrected. but driving down that street today, there was a car right on the curb where we would apply yellow paint. When you look up that street, you can't really see what's coming around that curve. So we're not, just to summarize, we're not discriminating against you. I don't think it detracts from your property. There are many properties in here with very similar situations to yours, and I think we should just put the matter to an end. That's all.
I think you should paint a yellow line down the middle of the street, which will keep people on their side of the street. That solves the problem.
Well, you happen to be on a semi-cul-de-sac.
Correct.
And
It's totally different than a 30-foot road.
It's a completely different situation, but the idea is, why should people be forced into a semi-cul-de-sac to come around a corner? And that's what happens. They say, gee, this road is 70-some-odd feet wide. I can swing real wide. Why is that necessary? We should have, we could solve the problem by restricting parking in a 20-foot area. That's what we're really talking about ultimately.
Yep, well, there's nothing scientific about it.
Agreed.
And I think it's arbitrary, and I don't think that there's a standard here, and I think that the decision that the board has made is wrong, and that's why I'm here today.
Yeah.
I just demonstrated DOT transportation regulations. If you drive that road and you had a yellow line there in the middle of the road, it wouldn't be a problem.
All right.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
And I think you're wrong.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Next.
Hi, I'm Jerry Pisapia, 37 Birmingham Lane. I'm basically up here for the same reason. I came home last week to find out that the curb across the street from my house is yellow. I mean, there's room there for at least 5 cars. It's not a it's not a narrow curve. I don't even think it is a curve. There's plenty of room there. Down further at the beginning of Birmingham is much narrower, and it is a dangerous curve, and they weren't painted yellow. So I'd just like somebody to relook at this, because one of the reasons I bought the house was that there was a lot of parking, because I have a big family. Right now, we can't park more than 3 cars maybe out there. Thank you. 37 Birmingham.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Nadine Waldman, 58 Birmingham. I just want to make sure when we do the presentation for the credit, that it's worded as a credit and not an assessment.
Well, both words will be used, because it is a food assessment for a food credit.
Because it's really a credit, you're getting something for
But
it. The
we're still
golf is an
assessing people.
assessment.
No, I can't get away from that
Okay.
word. Legally, I can't get away from that word.
Okay, as long as it's also mentioned, very definite that you're getting a credit, you're getting something
Yes,
for
well,
that.
I'm
Okay.
sure Mr. Wurzel will make that point very well known.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else in the public? Okay, let's close this. We're not ending the meeting, we're just closing this for a second. Sit in your chairs for 2 minutes, and then we're going to begin the budget presentation.
Greenbriar meeting.
So hopefully, I'm sure people will be signing in at a later time to view it. So we're going to begin the budget presentation. Kathy Donato, who's our treasurer, will be making a full report on both WOA, Whittingham, and assisting with Greenbriar. Okay. Okay. So why don't we start with you, and you're going to start with the WOA presentation? Okay. So if you have paperwork, please follow her on your paperwork.
Okay, so I'm going to direct you to the first handout, the first presentation. It should say Whittingham Homeowners Association and the Greenbriar Golf Course Association. That's just a recap. We don't have their financials. So turning to page 2, I'm not going to go through all of the details because we will be here all night. You have the materials. You can certainly review them at home, but what I'd like like to do is just bring out some of the highlights, things that you may want to direct your attention to. So on page 2 of the presentation, there is a layout of our revenues and expenses for WOA, the Whittingham Homeowners Association. And what I've done here is I've compared 2025 budget to 2026 budget. And I will highlight those items that really kind of make up what the increase will be. I cannot use 2025 full year as yet because we only are through September in terms of our actuals. So what this page basically tells us down at the very bottom is kind of the recap. It says that our current, for 2025, our current for WOA is $251, and it will increase to $267. That is a $16 increase. And the reason that I started with WOA first is because everyone in our community, both Greenbriar residents and Whittingham condo residents, all pay for that portion in their maintenance fees. Now, if you proceed to pages 3 and 4, this gives you a little more detail about each of the expenses that WOA has over the course of a year, and it highlights those items that are affected the most. I think the easiest way for me to explain what items are increasing is to recap it this way. So there's a $16 increase in the maintenance fees for WOA. And as I said earlier, that's from $251 to $267. Of that increase, $14.27 is for operating increases. And I'll go through what those are. $3.11 of that $16 increase is attributed to increases in the capital reserve contributions. Okay? Of that, there are two pieces that we contribute to, all the residents contribute to, as part of capital reserve contributions from the operating budget. They are the replacement reserve, and this is the fund that is used to take care of all the common property needs, improvements. For example, we did the pickleball court this year. Going forward, and I have a page in the presentation, which I will get to, that itemizes what is coming up in the next few years. And we've mentioned this many times. I want to kind of drill it home, basically. We have to increase the replacement reserve fund to comply with the New Jersey State Structural Integrity Law. That is the law passed in 2024 in response to the incidents down in Florida, Surf City, where it requires all HOAs to have adequate funding for their replacement reserve funds. We do not have an alternative. We are required by law to have adequate funding. The rate we were going, we would not have had adequate funding, and this is what we are trying now to correct. In addition to the replacement reserve fund. We also need to replenish the snow fund. Of that, $3.11 that I mentioned is attributed to increases in the capital reserve contributions. $2.33 is going to snow clearing. Okay, so those are the two components that make up the $3 portion. Now let's talk about the $14.27 cost increases in the operating budget. So let's look at insurance. Insurance is going up 10.8% from our current rate in 2025. That is $3.26 of that $14.27 that is increasing in operating costs. Again, something that is beyond our control. Insurance is going up everywhere. Personally, my home insurance has gone up 28%. I think it is a trend. Unfortunately, I think the insurance industry is basically trying to correct the years and years of insurance incidents and things that had to be taken care of, and they are passing it on to the consumers, the HOA being a consumer. There is an increase in computer tech support. In 2025, we found that it was more prudent, more effective, cost-effective to eliminate an IT position and instead take care of it by farming out our IT needs. And we are increasing a little bit, much less than we are gaining by eliminating the position, but we are increasing our computer tech support costs by a little bit, much less. General grounds maintenance.
Looks like
We
it's
are
going
trying
up.
to align our expenses with what we've actually experienced in 2025. As the community ages, the vegetation around the community unfortunately dies, and we are doing everything to try to replace all the vegetation around the community slowly. As it goes, we replace it, but it is extremely costly. There are a lot of other little items. There's legal fees, attorney fees, and the usage for attorneys has increased. So there's an increase attributed there. Altogether, that amounts to $14.27 of the 16. That's where we are finding the biggest cost for WOA, the biggest costs, the items that I've
16.
mentioned. All of it is itemized in the presentation. Any questions? If anyone has any questions, if anyone wants to take this home, read it if they had not already seen it, and you want to return in our next meeting and ask the questions, I'm more than welcome and happy to take those questions. So I'm just going to move down to page 5 of this presentation, and you can see the monthly assessment over the last 7 years. So, as I mentioned earlier, the new assessment for WOA will be $267. Moving on to page 6. Page 6 itemizes the capital reserve contributions that we make. We split out the contributions that are made to the replacement reserve, the storm water reserve, and the snow reserve. The total contributions from the operating budget, the increase in the next column, and then what the expectation for the next 5 years will be. And these are estimates. Things change, but this is what our budget is right now for the next 5 years for contributions to capital. The last column shows a monthly assessment increase anticipated if all goes according to this plan. So you can see that the increases likely, this does not include operating increases, but the increases hopefully will be lower with each subsequent year as we meet the demands of the New Jersey state law, the requirements of the New Jersey state law. On pages 7 and 8 of the presentation, I felt it was very necessary to give our community an understanding of where our current balances are and what we anticipate they will be with the expected contributions, as we indicated, and what needs to be done, what is required to be done over the next few years. So the first item on page 7 is the replacement reserve, and you can see there the description of the work that is required based on the capital reserve study that we had conducted and received in 2024. Also is stormwater, the expected balances. And on page 8, we have the snow fund reserve at the bottom. At the top, let me just stress, the discretionary reserve is a reserve that we use for emergency purposes. And it basically is contributed to by a buyer. Every time a buyer purchases a home, they pay a fee, and that fee goes into the discretionary reserve. And those are the anticipated balances for that reserve. So again, I just want to express if anyone has any questions. I don't want to take a lot of time going through the details, but if anyone has any questions, they can bring them to us at our next meeting. So that was WOA. And that's the easier one. All right, now we move on to the next presentation.
Hey, Kathy, hang on one second.
Yes.
We got one last slide on there about the golf course fees.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, of course. I went right past it. Okay. My apologies. Page 9. Thank you. On page 9 is just a recap of the Greenbriar Golf Course Association fees. So everyone in Greenbriar pays the golf fee, and 167 homes on the Whittingham condo side pay golf fee. That fee has increased $2 this year from $34 to $36. Thank you, Heather. Okay, so we'll move on to condo.
Okay, give me 1 second to switch my screens.
So while we're waiting for Matt, you're done? Okay, I just want to mention that we met with our budget and finance groups 13th of November, and we reviewed all of this material. We got many comments. We made many revisions. And I think we all agree at this point that this is where we need to be for 2026. And again, with some expectations for 5 years in the future. Okay, so let's move on to condo. It's a little bit of a different picture, but I put the presentations in pretty much the same format so that everyone can easily kind of go through them and know what they're looking at. So I have on page 2 of the Whittingham Condo Association, for those who live on the condo side. I have this same pattern of slides. Our revenues, operating expenses, and reserves. And condo is structured a little bit differently because there are 6 different types of homes, 3 different types of homes. Each of those is with and without golf. With and without golf for a townhome, with and without golf for a manor building home, with and without golf for a single family home. So there are actually 6 different rates at which we bill for maintenance assessments. The average, though, for 2025 budget was $383. It is going up to $407. That's a $24 increase. Again, page 3 of our presentation goes into the details and highlights those items that are the biggest concerns. And then we move on to the breakdown by home. So there is a Whittingham townhome. We'll have $434 and then $267 from WOA. And that brings us to $701. And the golf home, those who are golf homes, and me, $737. I know that sounds extremely high. We understand that. Going to manor homes. Let me just go through this and then we'll talk about what is going to happen as we move forward. The manor home is $381 assessment fee, $267 for WOA. That will bring the manor home to $648. And if they are a golf home, there's another $36. That's $684. Single family home is $370 plus $267 for WOA. That's $637. And with golf, 36 more is $673. Overall, for all of our without golf homes, it's a $40 increase. That's 24 for condo, 16 for WOA. That's $40. For those that are golf homes also, is another $2. So it's $42. So condo is where the issue is with condo, and I'll get to the capital reserve, but where condo, the drivers of the increases here, and what is causing these level of increases. The operating cost increase is $12, pretty much in line with what we saw on the WOA side, a little bit less, $12.72. The bigger problem is the increases to the capital reserve contributions. $12.73 of the $24 is attributed to increases in the capital reserve contribution. Again, this is because of the New Jersey State Structural Integrity Law. We are required by law to ensure that there is adequate funding for whatever our capital reserve study tells us. And we know the difference with condo versus Greenbriar, for example, is that the homes, the roofs are renovated by the HOA. The siding is due to be renovated by the HOA. We are currently replacing the fences. Let me just move back to the roofs. We've done about a little bit less than half of them. And we have a lot more to go. So unfortunately, the burden falls on the HOA. Over the years, sufficient funding was not put aside for capital reserve. And therefore, we should have had a large balance in there for when these items came up to be done, to be fixed, to be renovated. It was never put in the capital reserve fund. It was spent on operating, it was spent on other items, but it was not spent, it was not placed correctly in the capital reserve fund. And that's what we're trying now to make up. We're obligated to. We are required by law. We know what needs to be done. We have that available to us through capital reserve studies that we've done both in 2020 and in 2024. So, as I indicated, we're obligated to take care of that. So I'm just going to go back just so that I cover the drivers of the increases in the operating costs are $8 of that $12.72. $8.89 is for insurance. Again, 10.8% increase in insurance from 2025. That translates to $8, almost $9 of that $12.72. And that's really the biggest drivers. Road repairs was $250. So you can see it's not that we're increasing blindly. These are increases that we have absolutely no control over. Road repairs was for repairs to the road to seal cracks and such. Has to be done. So, unfortunately, I think this is just our biggest problem, but I want everyone to understand this is something that I've mentioned before. Although Greenbriar is a fee simple, very different type of home, they have to pay for their own roofs. They have to pay for their own siding. They have to pay for, if they have fences or decks or whatever patios in their yard, they have to pay for those. When you add up their costs to do that out of pocket over 30 or 40 years, just like we replace our roofs, it was 30 years before, now it will be 40, probably 50 years because we have a warranty. But again, as equipment gets better, as roof shingles and so on get better, they'll probably last longer over time. So going back to what we were saying about Greenbriar, their taxes are higher than the taxes on the Whittingham side. When you kind of add everything together, we're basically Greenbriar and Whittingham to upkeep a home basically very similar in cost. So I just wanted to mention that. That's one item that I've said before, but I just want everybody not to be concerned on the condo side. So going now to slide 5 in the condo presentation, we'll continue from where we left off. The annual contributions that are made to out of operating budget to the capital reserves are, of course, replacement reserve, and that is, as I said, what is used to fund of roofs, fencing, and so on. And then we also contribute to a deferred maintenance fund. If there's ever a major project that needs to be done, it can come out of the deferred maintenance fund. So overall, again, total contributed from operating budget, the total increase from year to year, the percent increase, and then what that translates to as a monthly assessment increase. And if you take a look, again, we are looking at very similar increases as we go out. 26, 27, 28, 29, or 30. Now, page 6 and page 7, same pattern that I mentioned with WOA. We are showing what we will contribute, what we hope to contribute over the next 5 years. The estimated expenses that we anticipate based on the capital reserve study. Over to the very right is the description of the work that needs to be done on the Whittingham condo side over the next few years. And again, based on the capital reserve study that was conducted October 2024 by our engineer, Kipcon. All right, again, I've also laid out the deferred maintenance fund and the discretionary reserve fund. Same concept, discretionary reserve. The contributions come from the purchase of homes, and it is paid by the buyer. Okay? And that ends our presentation
Okay,
for WOA.
Before we go further with any other part of the budget, is just talking on the WOA and the Whittingham side of the budget, are there any comments from the board members in regards to Kathy's presentation?
So it's up before you go.
Very extensive. I mean, she spends, I do have to let everyone know, I speak to Kathy regularly on the phone. She spends an enormous amount of time diving into this and trying to be on the right side of a penny. So it means that much. And soon we won't even have a penny to fight over. So I don't know, we're going to a nickel. So unfortunately, there's a lot of things beyond our control that we can handle. I mean, this year, the board has done a lot in its contract renewals. We've negotiated better pricing. We have, over the 3 years that we've been here, we've eliminated the resources we're putting into staff here. I mean, we're at a bare minimum now. We can't go any lower. We have to maintain what we have. We're an aging community. The buildings are 40 years old. They require work at this time. So we have to maintain it and keep it in a state of good repair. That's our obligation. Fortunately, as the building and the community gets older, the costs come with it. Anyone else on the board like to have anything to say? Okay. How do we want to handle this? Do we want to open this up for the residents just on these two issues here before we go over to Greenbriar? Because that's a different...
I would suggest you do that,
Yeah.
and this way folks who live in Whittingham community can leave after that without having to sit through the Greenbriar budget.
Right.
They're welcome to stay, but then no reason to.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll open it up for comment from the homeowners on these two budgets, the WOA and the Whittingham. If you have any comments in regards to the information that Kathy has given you tonight, please come up to the microphone. All right, please, someone who has, come up. You're on.
Mike Larrea, 23 Cameron Court. I'm wondering why legal fees have doubled, particularly since we're not having a...
Can't hear you. Speak closer to the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Especially since we're not changing our management group and we're not having a vote on whether or not to combine the boards. It would seem like the legal fees should go down, not up. Also, I'd like an explanation as to why the gas under the clubhouse expenses has doubled also. So please, and by the way, thank you very much for all your hard work. I understand how difficult this is.
I apologize because I didn't hear all your concerns. I heard the gas. What else?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Legal fees.
Legal fees.
Yeah, your legal fees. Why have they doubled? And why is the gas going up?
Okay. So I am comparing budget to budget, 2025 budget. We had expected, and I'm going to go item by item. So we had expected on the Whittingham side that legal fees would go down. In fact, we've had some minor legal issues that we had to resolve, and therefore it never went to that level. So when you say in 2024, we had an expense, and I'll tell you exactly what it was, so that you understand we had brought it down with the expectation that we would not need. Just give me 1 second so I could get to that page. Okay. Okay, in 2020, I'm going to give you some history. In 2022, we spent $39,000 for legal fees. In 2023, we spent $55,000 for legal fees.
Okay.
And in 2024, we spent $73,000 for legal fees.
Okay.
Now, in 2024, we knew that we had a lot spent for consulting purposes.
Mic keeps fading
Your
in
mic.
and out.
Your mic.
Okay, we felt that we can reduce on the expectation that we would have no pending issues or any
Okay.
litigation or anything.
All right.
During
so-
the course of late in 2024, we had one minor issue that we had to resolve, and we've taken care of that this year, and unfortunately, our expenses are up again.
Okay, so basically it's the 2025, the 2026 budget is less than the 2025 expense.
That's correct.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
So
and
it
we
went up
do still
okay.
expect, now, legal fees increased. Increased.
Yeah, you're fading out. Those are brand new ones. Those are brand new.
So I was saying that legal fees have also increased.
Okay.
And we are trying desperately to keep them at bay.
Okay.
So I'm going to move on to gas expenses. So gas, we see two things have happened. We've had an increase in usage and an increase in the rate of gas.
Okay.
And that's what has brought it up. And in the like, seeing what we saw in 2025, we are also predicting that it will increase by a modest 3%. in rate for 2025 with the same usage.
If
In
it's a-
26,
I'm
excuse
sorry,
me.
I'm sorry. If it's a modest increase, why does why
No.
does it go from 26,000
So
to
there's two components
Yeah, I
of
heard
gas.
that.
There's the usage, which has increased a lot, and there is the rate, which has increased modestly. So combined, it's the increase that we are seeing here.
Okay. All right, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah. Anyone else in the audience want to speak on the budget?
Okay.
Uh,
I just want to add, just so that everyone understands, the usage has increased because the restaurant was open all day long. Whereas prior to that, our restaurant was only open until 2 o'clock. So that's part of the usage increase.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Thank you, Kathy. Joe, do you have a comment you wanted to make? Someone want to come up? Come up to the microphone.
My name is Gubi Rao. We live in 63G Winthrop Road, with a townhouse. Unfortunately, I am a CPA. I mean, certified public accountant. Okay. Unfortunately, I am a CPA. Understand? So I have prepared lots of budgets for government organizations, industries, and also in last 50 years. I'm old, 80 plus now. So what I mean to say is, the budget is no budget. You don't compare last year's budget to the actual expenditures. What we are discussing here.
Saying we don't compare last year's budget to...
The actual expenditures.
Well, we don't have actual expenditures for the year as yet. We're only through September. Our fiscal year goes January to December, of course, but our rate increases are based on budget to budget.
But don't you do a mid-year budget or a quarterly budget? As the year progresses, you have to do the budgets, revised budgets, closer to the actual expenditure.
I think what he's saying is that in this analysis, what he would have liked to have seen was 2026 budget as compared to 2025
Budget.
projected
Correct.
based off of 10 months actual and 2 months projected. These sorts of budgets are traditionally shown that way, where you compare not budget year to budget year, but budget year to projected actual late in the year. Is that your comment?
Correct, sir.
Yeah, I think that would have been handy to have. I don't think it changes anything, but it would have been a little easy to analyze their actuals to next year. Do we have money in the capital budget for microphones?
So let me comment. Our Budget and Finance Committee has all of that information. We provide to them our month by month, our monthly actuals with a projection for the remaining months. For example, let's say July. We'll have July actuals and we will have projections for August through December. For this purpose, we had September actuals. Our Budget and Finance Committee sits with us to determine whether or not the projections seem in line with what we've been experiencing, what trends we have, what seems to be logical. We compare also to at least 3 of our prior years, 22, 23, 24. So we do have all the information available to the Budget and Finance Committee. We make the decision jointly. We review all of the numbers. We ask They ask questions, we go back and forth, we speak to our accounting department. We analyze basically all of the line items. So that information is available to them. To give that information to the community would be overwhelming.
I don't think so.
Well, you're a CPA, so for you, it's
I
not
don't think
overwhelming.
so. I don't think so. There should be a column for actual
Okay, so let me just
slash
tell you.
estimated expenditure. There is no expenditure column here. We don't know what we are spending.
Okay, no, you
No,
do know.
last year, what we have seen in 2025 budget,
Yes,
that same figure is appearing here as 2025 budget,
Of
but there
course.
is no expenditure. There should be variance between the budget figure and the actual figure.
okay, all of that is available on your portal, on the resident portal. Every single month, you have reports that are available on the portal that show the actuals for the month, the projections for the outer months. Let's say September actuals, you'll get projections for October, November, December. Again, all of that is available on the portal. But we have found in the past that that was overwhelming for our residents. They did not understand it. You're a CPA, you can understand.
I understand.
Okay.
It is a very
Now, I will give you one more information. We have a Budget and Finance Committee. We are always looking for CPAs. We have several on our Budget and Finance Committees. Please, we just sent out the notifications for our residents to sign up to join the Budget and Finance Committee. I welcome people of your magnitude. Your expertise is completely needed. So please, join us.
Thank you very much for that.
No problem.
But I just request you to add one more column as actual slash estimated expenditure for 2025.
I will note that. I do now, just so that you know, in April, we distribute also an account of what the actuals were, the real actuals, no projections, the real actuals for 2025 compared to the 2025 budget and the 2026 budget. So we do that.
What you're looking for can be found on the portal. The level of detail that you're looking for and the kinds of numbers are available on the portal. You can go look it up. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Kathy, I see some of the members of the Budget and Finance Committee out there. Why don't you recognize some of them for the service that they give to the community?
I certainly will. They are instrumental in helping to put this together, and their expertise is extremely valuable to the community. So there is a table back there, sort of two tables. There's Stan Gross is our chairperson for Jean Gold is our chairperson for the WOA and Condo Budget and Finance Committee. Mark Hass, an invaluable member. Stan Gross, who was our previous chairperson but remains on our Budget and Finance Committee. Joe Gleason, also invaluable member. Gary Fillick is no longer, he left. Okay, I saw him earlier. So I want to recognize their contribution. They volunteer their time. They're experts in the field, and I couldn't do this without them backing me up.
And Marta Devine.
Marty is in
as
the
well sits on
hospital.
them.
Yeah. So anyone who has financial background, I urge you, please volunteer your time. Doesn't take a lot of time. We try to meet once a month. A few months we don't meet. But everyone's contribution is welcome and necessary. Thank you.
All right. And again, thank you for the service. I do read the emails that Kathy copies me on involving the budget and finance, and thanks again for all the time that you put in to help her make this presentation. Okay. So is there anyone else in the audience that would like to have any more comments on these two budgets? Okay, seeing none, I
Anybody
will
on
close
Zoom?
the audience here. Is anyone else?
Yeah, we do have a couple on Zoom, if you don't mind.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right, open it up for Zoom.
Okay, well, first, Stanley Gross, I see you here. You're a magician because you're on Zoom also. and I think there's only one Stanley Gross I know in the community. So, I mean, I'm looking at you right now. It's your name. I guess your wife's on your phone. Okay, we do have a couple on Zoom. One, this is a good question. Janine Argerio, 52A Rutland. We're now over $700 a month. Were there discussions about capital reserve being an assessment and not addition to monthly HOAs? If so, why was decision made not to do it that way?
Thank you, Janine, for the question. Yes, we've had many discussions about an assessment that we can apply, and going forward, it will not increase your, or some portion of not increasing your maintenance. But there's a lot of things to consider. When you do an assessment, it does not compound like a maintenance increase. So the assessment that you do generally would be larger than the maintenance assessment that you would get based on, for example, an 8% increase every year. And I'm going to repeat that. So when you take and contribute to your fund out of a maintenance assessment, out of a maintenance fee, that goes into an account and earns interest every year thereafter that it remains in that account. You lose that component when you are doing a special assessment. It will go into the account because it has to be tied to a project. And so you will lose that, you will immediately pay it out for your project. The next year, so if I can, let's just say, so I'm going to contribute $500,000 this year to the operating account. Next year, we're starting at that $500,000. If I don't contribute that $500,000, so whatever I contributed before would then continue if I'm doing a special assessment. So if I contributed $100,000 in 2024, that $100,000 in 2025, if I did a special assessment and I'm not contributing anything, the $500,000 will go in, and as a special assessment, as a one-time special assessment, the $100,000 would then start again the next year. So now I have to either up the monthly maintenance again, or I have to do another special assessment. So you lose a component when you do a special assessment, and therefore it has to be a little bit higher to make up for that. I'm hoping that I'm able to explain it well. So we are considering still doing a special assessment so that we can keep the maintenance fee suppressed, if I could put it that way, lower. but it will, unfortunately, it will equate to a larger assessment. So we're kind of weighing out what is the best option. We are looking towards 2027, 2028, and 2029. But it's something that we have a lot of discussion to do yet.
Okay. There'll be further discussion on a possible assessment with the Whittingham side in regards to the capital reserves. We've had some brief conversations on that, and it's something that we need to explore to see if we can control these yearly increases on the HOAs to try to catch up on the capital reserve money. Otherwise, as Kathy said, these yearly raises on your HOA are going to be quite high. And so we're trying to avoid that and look at all kinds of other ways to prevent that so we can stay an affordable community. Okay. In saying that, is there anyone else in the public? There's no one on Zoom. Any more questions?
We got a couple of comments I think we probably should read, because if I don't, I will probably get killed. And I know who sent this, and it's not budget related. Can we commend Kristen for an outstanding job? Please read chat on Zoom, Matt.
I'm sorry,
So-
we don't have time for that.
So if I did not read that commendation, I would get crucified.
Okay, very good.
And thank you, Michelle. There are a couple other ones I'm just going to kind of answer in general. We did email these presentations out a couple times before the meeting. We'll send them out again, and we'll be sending budget information and payments and everything else out as well in the coming days. So everyone's going to get that. And Greenbriar is up next because there's a lot of questions about, is Greenbriar's budget going to be on here? Yes, they are next.
Okay. So I guess the motion is, do I make a motion to adopt these two budgets now? I think so, yes. Okay, so, okay, I'll move it, and Joe second it? Okay. So, any comment before we go? Okay, then roll call.
Okay, Tom Clark,
Yes.
Jay Respler, Bob Brown, Kathy Dodano, Joe Atanasio, Kathy Clark and Gleason, and Jeff Simonson. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Greenbriar, it's all yours.
Okay.
Mark?
If there are folks who want to leave who live in Whittingham, they're welcome to leave. It doesn't, you don't need my permission actually, but I am making you aware. Greenbriar, fortunately for me, is a lot less complicated to, boy, everybody's leaving. That wasn't the deal. Kathy, again, gets all the credit for having produced all of this, not only the presentation materials, but the underlying numbers and projections. And also the Budget Committee. We have other members on the Greenbriar Budget Committee. I don't know all the names. Clifford Bard, I know. Marty Levine is on that committee. Some of the other folks that were already mentioned, Mark Cass and Stanley Gross. There's a few other folks on that committee, and they do a real good job. Our budget is a good deal smaller. We're looking at a budget next year of about $1.4 million for $1.3 million in receipts. I want to bring your attention, I'm on page, 2. I just want to mention quickly late fees. There's a 0 number in there. When we transitioned to the new management company, when we transitioned to the new management company, there was a lot of confusion about paying people's monthly maintenance, where they pay it, how they pay it. And so we waived the late fees during that time period, and we it's time now that we reinstate that. Late fees are not a big part of our budget. We only bring in a couple of $1,000s, but I think it's appropriate that there be some consequence for people not paying attention to their responsibilities and paying us in a timely fashion. So we will be bringing back late fees, and so there will be some money in there at the end of this year, but again, it's de minimis. It's not a lot of money involved. The rest of the budget, we're only going up $6, and a good portion of that is also in the reserves. Let me flip pages here. I'm in the wrong book. Here we go. Yeah, we're only going up $6, and a good deal of it's in the reserves. And again, it's associated with the requirements that we have for New Jersey to ensure our reserve balances are in line with what the engineering firm projects our capital needs to be over the next 10 years. So the capital reserve studies are done every 5 years, and they project out every 10, so they're refreshed every 5. We are in good shape in the Greenbriar side because the biggest portion of our capital reserves are the streets. And we've just completed the full cycle of street repaving through the entire community. And it's going to be a while before we have to go back to start over again with the streets that were done early in the cycle. We did the streets over about a 10-year period, taking a bite out of each, out of the number of streets we have each year. And so at some point we're going to be circling back to the earliest streets that we've done as they start to wear, and that will again involve spending these capital reserve funds. In the interim, we are going to be building them up. So if you look at page 5, which addresses this very subject, this discusses the various amounts being put into reserves and coming out of reserves. So we did show some reserve spending. I think that's on a different page. We did show some reserve spending, which frankly may or may not take place. And that's why these studies are done every few years. Because just because we project something to be spent, there isn't a guarantee that it will actually be spent. The decision to spend money on capital reserves are not based on when they hit the reserves study, but based on whether they need it. So, for instance, in 2028, we showed having to do Belgian block cutting and gazebos. That was put there by the engineering firm. They made a determination. Well, in 2028, the board will look at that and make a determination as to whether that actually has to be done. If it does, they will do it. If it doesn't, it'll just continue to support the reserves. So our reserves work all the same as the other two entities. And that's really the highlights of this thing. Most of the expenses are going up are associated with the contractual arrangements we have with the recycling company, the contractual arrangements we have with the lawn maintenance company. And so those things are going up at the same rate that the contracts go up. Some of the other things that somebody's going to question is an indication here of a fee for insufficient funds. When we get paid from a homeowner and the check or the electronic deposit bounces for whatever reason, does not get paid, there's a fee that's applied. We have to pay that fee out of our pocket, but it's reimbursed to us. So those fees, if you see things there like insufficient funds fees, those are the revenue for replacing what we already spent. It's not a profit. There's no profit to be made in that. I think that's really high. One of the big expenses we all face here in Greenbriar is called CMA application. It has been running at $20,000 a snowfall. CMA is what we used to call road salt. Now it's a chemical called CMA, and it's put out at the discretion of management and the landscape maintenance company that does the plowing. And we are not stingy about using it, although we're careful about it because it is a $20,000 pop every time. But it is more important that our driveways be as safe as we possibly can make it. CMA isn't magic. It's not going to make your driveway slip-proof, but it's the best we can do to ensure the safety of residents. It's still, we have to every winter remind people that the mail is not worth it. It could stay in the cold overnight if the driveway and the walkways are slippery. Nonetheless, we are very careful about ensuring that we put down CMA whenever the conditions necessitate it, and those are expenses. We cannot predict how many CMA applications there will be. We traditionally run about 2 or 3, but there have been years there have been none, and there are years there have been 5. But we budgeted $60,000, which represents about 3 CMAs, and to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if we find that CMA applications are more than 20,000 this year. I mean, we've been using that number, and that's been accurate, but if CMA suddenly jumped to 24,000, that wouldn't shock me either. So, calcium, magnesium acetate. I think that covers the budget. We discussed that it's $6 a month, and as it filters into the other components, every Greenbriar resident pays the increase is $6 a month to $91. Everyone in Greenbriar pays the $91. Everyone in Greenbriar pays the WOA, $267. Everyone in Greenbriar pays the golf, $36, for a total of $394, which I think is extraordinarily reasonable. I think we've done a good job of all of the components, all of the three components, keeping these as minimally as possible, and I think this reflects that. So that's where we're at. Any questions on the Greenbriar budget? Oh, Lindell. Is that Lindell? Oh, man. The bane of my existence. What's up, Mark?
Mark Lindell, 15 Trent Road. On the G&A part of the budget, the insurance, why does the insurance go up 19% on Greenbriar, where we pay our own homeowners insurance, and it only goes up 11% on the WOA budget?
It's the way that Greenbriar was distributed before. They used to get 49% of the property insurance. And for whatever reason, this year it was distributed a little bit differently, and that's something that Matt and I will have to discuss. So I haven't gotten a response from Emily, our accountant, or our controller at First Service. Emily basically said that those are the percentages that were provided to her for this insurance. So I think it's just a slight difference in what the distribution of the insurance would be for Greenbriar. I think that's the only difference,
Yeah.
a little bit of a difference.
We always had this historical allocation that was created a good number of years ago that I believed was in place. When allocation, taking the insurance expenditure and applying a percentage or a ratio to each of the various entities that are involved in those policies. But I think it's also done somewhat line by line, line meaning it in the insurance term of the type of insurance involved. But yeah, Matt, I would like to revisit that with Kathy and find out what's changed in the allocation, because I wasn't aware of.
The main part of the WOA budget should be this building, and we're paying our own homeowners insurance for the building, for our individual residences. So why are we getting hit for that part of it? It's already should be part of the, I don't know what the insurance is covering for Greenbriar.
Right.
Mike, oops, Mike Larea, 23 Cameron. Under insurance, what is terrorism coverage for our community?
That's when Mark Lindell walks up. I get terrorized.
Ah,
Yeah, we just talked about the terrorism rider. So we did not choose the terrorism
Correct.
rider. Is that correct? Right. There was a discussion with the insurance broker that there was a terrorism rider available, and we opted not to. That's my understanding. Yeah.
okay, it says
So
broker,
we're subject to terrorism.
so we're getting a terrorism coverage in 2026?
No, we opted not to. It says broker did not include terrorism coverage. Kathy is just making you aware in the notes that when she saw that increase of 19.2, she opted not to have it go up even more by taking advantage of the terrorism coverage.
Okay, no,
Okay.
I think,
There's-
Mark, let me
Go ahead.
just, I'm going to turn to Matt, because I think in 2025, we did not have coverage for terrorism.
Right.
In 2026, we now do.
Oh, is
Okay,
that what this-
why?
No, we actually do not have it on our policy. We did not have it last year, and we don't have it this year. Our broker advised not to even bother with it.
He
Okay.
made an adjustment to it. And is that what he took out? The new numbers,
No, we didn't have it last year.
no, I know we
Yeah.
didn't have it in '25.
He didn't make any adjustments.
In 2026, and I'll bring it up to you, it says it includes terrorism coverage.
I'd have to look at it. I don't have it with me, but I do not believe we have terrorism coverage.
Now, I'm sorry. I
Memory is
brought it
that
up.
we rejected that rider.
Yeah.
I thought that was the
Yeah.
case. Any other questions?
Yeah, I do. On the printing and the copying, it looks to me like the expense for printing the coupon books is kind of high. I mean, it's almost $10 a book.
Yeah, you really hit a sore spot with me. I'm really anti-coupon books.
Yep.
I think this is 2025, 2026. Folks should start to get comfortable with the notion of moving their money into our accounts electronically, e-checks and ACH transfers and those sorts of things. But we have a lot of folks here that still want to write a check and lick a stamp, and we have to supply them with coupon books. And we do. The answer is that we have really no choice.
Well, I think you're missing the point.
Folks,
The
we
point
dis-
isn't the number of people. The point is that if you use just 1,000 homes, which is probably excessive, it's about $10 a booklet. That doesn't sound right.
I'll tell you this, we've discussed this a good number of years because I'm a guy that's oriented towards taking advantage of whatever technology is available to us. And I pushed the notion of this idea of getting away from coupon books altogether. I think there are communities where the only way you could pay your maintenance is electronically or digitally. And there are a number of ways to do that without, I know somebody who tells his bank to write a check and the check goes in the mail directly to Florida. Nonetheless, in our community where we have a fair number of folks who are not oriented towards technology, they want to write a check and they want to lick a stamp. And we have discussed the idea of charging those folks for the privilege. And I get how that sits nicely with those of us who feel that way. However, it was felt that a lot of people would be angry and hurt that they would be being charged more for the privilege of writing a check and mailing it in.
Okay,
So
but
we
I'm-
kept it.
I still think you're missing the point.
I would love, I
the
know
fact
that Matt,
it's-
when he
the
talks
fact
to
that
people
it's not
coming in, he strong arms them into going with ClickPay as much as possible. We're trying, and of course, people coming in are younger than the people who are living here, and so we have a better chance. but I think coupon books are going to be with us for a while.
Okay, could we go back to the insurance then?
That's it.
What-
Are
The
you?
insurance?
You have something?
Do we or do we not have
Okay.
terrorism?
So it does say in the notes for insurance, it says that premiums reflected above are
Right.
inclusive of fees, surplus lines, tax, and terrorism coverage premium. But I just checked with Matt, who had spoken with the insurance agent, and he says that it was not included, but the note was never removed.
That's
So it
fine.
is not.
Okay, so, but the
included.
insurance is still going to go up 19.2%?
Yes, the dollars that are there, and let me just explain a little bit better. So, property, the property portion of the insurance went up significantly more than the automobile or the general liability or the workers' comp or the group accident or the other insurances. And Greenbriar receives a percentage of that. So their portion went up more than WOA's portion. So it's just the breakdown of the components of insurance. So every association gets a different percentage distribution of the insurance costs.
Okay,
Okay?
all right. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
You have anyone else to speak? Anything on Zoom?
Zoom?
Nothing on Zoom.
Great.
Okay.
I make a motion that the Greenbriar Board approve the budget as presented. Roll call?
Okay. Chester Trubinsky, Alan Greenberg, Ron Parisi, Mark Sirks, and Cliff Durlacher. Thank you.
Okay, I guess that brings it back over to me, and seeing there's no other business on the agenda, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Jay, second by Kathy. Okay, thank you. Thank you all for coming, and thank you all for staying to the very end.